Hello everyone, my name is Loko and welcome to a new replay analysis. Today we're gonna take a look at the Zerg player spawning in the top left corner named Piz. He's actually a subscriber on Twitch TV to the LowkoTV channel, and I'm going to analyze his game that he played against this TERRAN player named Godzilla. So this is going to be a Zerg vs TERRAN game played on Habitation Station Alley, and it's going to be a platinum level ZVT. Now honestly, I was watching this game, and Piz in this specific game actually plays incredibly good. I was actually surprised. Like, at some point by the very end of the game, I was actually quite surprised that he in the end lost it. And we're gonna have a look at exactly what happens. Now, as you might have guessed by the title of this video, the TERRAN player Godzilla is indeed gonna go for mech. Now, mech is one of these things that became recently very popular with Blizzard merging the upgrades, where it just basically becomes a whole lot easier to go for mech units. So, this is actually, it's actually very well done so far by Piz. He's actually scouting pretty effectively already, going for the blind Roach Warren, which is fine, and he's gotten the gold base up as well at a good timing. So usually this is where gold players, or platinum players rather, make the mistake where they take the third base much too late and don't drone it up as heavily as you would like to. Well, Piz does that a little bit. He doesn't drone quite as heavily as I would have liked to see, but in the end it doesn't really matter all that much. He's scouting efficiently, he notices, okay, there's more factories going down, he knows another command center. So he realizes exactly what is happening, and he knows Godzilla, the TERRAN player, is gonna go mech. Now, honestly, this is where the first mistake is really made. He's right now at a lair, he's right now doing double upgrades, he's getting the Roach Glio Reconstitution, which is Roach Speed upgrade, and this is where Piz should make a decision. We're gonna go back to this point, but first we're gonna cruise through the game a little bit, but the 10-minute mark is where this decision needs to be made, pretty much. So he actually manages to defend quite well right here. After defending that, he starts droning up heavily once more, and as soon as the TERRAN player starts messing out units, that is also the moment where Piz decides to actually start making a ton of units himself and keep counterattacking. Now, a couple of Hellion run-bys, annoying, but not the worst thing in the world, because right now he has so many units. So the third base is trying to be taken by the TERRAN player, but Piz is gonna be smart about it and he's gonna delay. So this is something that I am always a little bit risky about, and that I honestly should be doing a whole lot more. Being as aggressive versus a TERRAN player that goes for mech is absolutely crucial. Because when does a TERRAN player that goes for mech become unkillable? Well, basically as soon as they go for 3 bases, 4 bases, and start maxing out. If a TERRAN player manages to max out with these kind of units, with siege tanks, with Thors, and with Hellbats, and maybe even Ravens in the later part of the game, you do not have a chance to win. I know that might sound pretty silly, I know it might sound pretty difficult to accept that, but if a player is maxed out on TERRAN units, he has mech, he has +3/+3, the only way a TERRAN can really lose in that sort of situation is by actually making a mistake. So the one way you have of winning versus a TERRAN player is to constantly keep attacking, and that is exactly what Piz is going to be doing in this game. He is going to show you exactly what needs to be done, and he's gonna keep counterattacking against the TERRAN, making sure that this army stays small. So right now he's just making a ton of units, more and more roaches, getting the 4th base up, a macro hatchery and all that kind of awesomeness. And as soon as he's maxed out, I believe, right around now, yeah, he's gonna actually load up his overlords and gonna go and try for a little bit of a drop, I believe. Might be scouted right now, but it doesn't really matter all that much. No, he's actually gonna unload them again and just walk them over instead. But all in all, like, the way that Piz approaches this game versus mech is very well done. He's gonna do this push right here, and keep in mind, even though he's losing a lot of supply, it is still going to be very, very efficient. Because simply the TERRAN player is not allowed to max out. And even though we managed to lose a lot of stuff right there, we ended up with having more supply than our opponent. However, there is one key mistake, and that is this building right here. The hive is super late, okay? Like I said, we're gonna go back to the 10-minute mark in a little bit. But first we're gonna watch what the moment is where he loses the game. Gotta keep counterattacking right now, manages to clean up the TERRAN player right here. Killing all the units, even managing to kill the planetary fortress, I believe, in a little bit. So he really plays it super well. It just ends up not working out at the very end of the game, just because of one unit that he's forgetting about. And I know a lot of people might already be thinking it. It's going to be the Viper. The Viper is really missing out, but I'm gonna show you exactly when you should probably do this and when you should probably go for the hive instead. So he's gonna go for a push. He cleans up once more the TERRAN player, killing a ton of supply. But at this point, a Terran player becomes too strong. He has a planetary up right here. He has bases saturated. And even though you have all the economy that you ever need as a Zerg player, Zerg is gonna have a lot of issues in these sort of situations. Now there's gonna be one more push right here. Once more, a pretty good one, but it's already getting a little bit tougher to hold on. And after this push is when things go backwards. Because the Terran player starts having a ton of supplies, starts having a ton of income. He will be able to max out very, very shortly. And then the Zerg player is just sort of dead. And I think this is an experience that pretty much everyone has, especially in the higher leagues, because this Terran player is macroing pretty damn good as well. He's just playing very patiently, knowing exactly what he needs to do, which is to max out and literally just sit back. And here we go, the Zerg player is just gonna lose everything, and the Terran is gonna march across the map, right? Very, very obvious game, very, very common mistake. And something that that is quite easily fixed, to be honest. I honestly think that Piss severely outplayed the Terran in this play game, but he just forgot that one unit called the Viper. Really? What? And he leaves the game. So, the one moment that we need to go back to is the 10-minute mark. 10 minutes right around here or so. This is the most important moment in the game. It is pretty much when it comes to defeating mech in Zerg versus Terran, it is all about the mindset that you need to have versus a Terran player, okay? If you take a look right now, we know already what is up. We saw the extra production of factories right there. We know that there at the very least are 3 factories up, likely gonna be more. We didn't quite scout the armory, but at this point we can assume it's gonna be mech. Now, the big thing with mech, with Terran mech, is that there are very little amounts of timing attacks. There are just straight up very little amount of timing attacks that a Terran player can go for. It is not like Marine Marauder, Medevac Mine, or Marine Widow Mine, or Marine Tank or whatever, where the Terran player can actually go for like a +1/+1 push, or a +2/+2 push, simply because mech units scale a little bit differently. If a player manages to max out on mech, he is pretty much undefeatable, and that is usually what the Terran players will go for. Now, to buy some time and do a little bit of aggression in between, you will oftentimes see these Hellion run-bys, right? However, we are pretty much free to do whatever the fuck we want as a Zerg player, as long as we are aware that there are gonna be Hellions moving across the map. So you need to be a little bit defensive for those, but those are not the hardest to deal with. The one important thing that we need to do is instantly, as soon as we see Hive around the 10-minute mark, instantly throw down the infestation pit and go for a Hive. Okay? What would that mean? Well, the Hive would be done, I don't even know how long a Hive takes, about 100 seconds, which is about 2 minutes. I don't even know actually how long it actually takes for a infestation pit to morph. But let's say in about 3 minutes of time, around the 13-minute mark, we could have the Hive out, right? Then let's say another minute or two, let's say around the 15 minutes, when we can have full energy Vipers. What do Vipers do? Vipers blinding cloud. So let's say around the 15-minute mark, we can have a very big roach army off of 4 bases, exactly like Piz was already having. However, we're gonna have a couple of Vipers in there. Let's have a look. He is gonna do a very strong timing push, okay? We're gonna have a look at that very, very shortly. Gonna speed through that a little bit. He's gonna make a ton of units very soon. And this would be the moment, actually a minute from now, around this time, is when we should really see Vipers already out. Now imagine how this fight would go, okay? Let's say Piz actually macroed perfectly. The Vipers would ideally already be out right now. Imagine, even if it's like 1 or 2, maybe probably 3 Vipers if you played it ideally, you can already have about 3 Vipers out with full energy at this time in the game. You would have +2/+2 if you did that properly as well. In the end, the Terran player is just dead right now. Look what the Terran player has. Just look at it. Just imagine this Roach army plus 2 or 3 Vipers versus... How much is that? That is 1 Siege Tank, 2 Thors, and 6 Hellbats. Just let that sink in for a little bit. When a Terran player goes for mech, it is important to realize they are never gonna move out, okay? Like, they might be going for a timing attack around maybe the 16 to 17 minute mark, which is something that you do quite often see, but those are pretty easy to hold. But it is not like Marine Marauder Mine, where you just sort of lose if you don't, or like if you aren't prepared for the timing attack. So, what I would advise you to do is as soon as you realize it is going to be mech play, around the 10-minute mark, go for the infestation pit, go for the Hive, get a couple of Vipers out, drone as greedily as you need to in that amount of time, and then go for a big timing attack off of +2/+2 and a couple of Vipers with Blinding Cloud. Throw the Blinding Clouds on those siege tanks and the Terran army literally just get ruled. It is something that I've been working on quite a lot, and it seems to be very, very efficient. I've been losing long ass macro games as well versus mech. It is very frustrating, but it's important to realize that if you let a Terran player max out on mech units, you're just sort of dead. Hopefully, this helped your Zerg versus Terran game. This is relevant for pretty much every single league, however, especially if you're around Platinum or Diamond or so, because honestly, I think Piss played like a diamond in this game. So yeah, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Hello everyone, my name is Loko, and welcome to a new game of StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm. Now, a lot of you have been requesting a little bit of a longer